Hello, welcome FOF. This is the Luna League, and we are here with our first master today, and I cannot wait for it with Church of Alfonso versus Serenity Senate. I'm here with Lolo. Is that how you pronounce it, man? Lolo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lolo, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, Found. I'm good. It is already 1:45 in my time, and I am ready. It is a start to the week, and we've got some beautiful action coming here. Luna League Week 6, Day 1. So let's get into it.
Absolutely. God bless Great Britain. Right off, we got a movie selected up. Honestly, that's most likely probably going to go into the support role. That's where we have been seeing it most often. I really like how FOF has been kind of. I think we're on the starting ground for what we should be able to expect for Worlds. This is coming up right around the corner, so Mumu already being taken into that more supportive role that he's been kind of indexing towards.
Yeah, I mean, some of the teams are still trying to use it as a bit of a flex pick because obviously you can still stick it in the jungle. He is still a pretty good ganker, of course, with the double banner drops and stuff. So it's worth noting, of course, that Serenity Senate, by the way, due to a penalty from the previous week, denied their first 3 bans. So immediately we're going to go into the picks here, and we're going to see a rise. I think this is relatively flexible between the mid and top. As far as I'm aware, Halos is actually playing top lane and Cold Bloom ADC this time around, and Halos does play quite a bit of Rise, so being a previous mid laner, so I think that they would be able to flex that between the mid and top should they wish to. On the other side, the GP, I reckon this is going into the mid lane. RHC plays a lot of GP. It is, again, flexible, but that would be my call on this, and we're going to get the Ziggs potentially paired with the Amumu in the bot.
Yeah, absolutely. GP being one of the most skill-defining champions into the game, very difficult to execute, but very rewarding if you do manage to land those barrel combos. Honestly, I'm going to be more interested to see what build Paytime is going to be looking to go onto this GP, whether he's going to go more lethality or crit route. But already selected up from the side of what Oli is going to be playing in the bot lane is that Blitzcrank. Really early to show it, so I'm kind of surprised to see it come out already.
Yeah, I do wonder about this against the Amumu because I feel like if you can just if the Amumu manages to body block the hook, then he can just banner drop his way right in there, and that's where he wants to be. So it is quite a bold statement. I mean, it does allow them for some early invade potential. It allows them to set up some nice pressure onto the mid lane if he gets a chance to roam against the Sigs. So yeah, I mean, it looks to be something that they're going to try to do to kind of snowball the early game as best they can and stop this this scaling comp on the other side, this GP, this Ziggs from getting online.
Yeah, absolutely. FOF has been the Ziggs Bonanza. We see him almost every game. One of the highest priority champions. Honestly, I really like his versatility. He's one of the higher damage AP champions. Already a lot of AP built up for Church of Alfonso already, so they are going to need a little bit more AP AD threat. GP generally isn't enough by himself, so I do expect a more contemporary AD carry to come out. But with Caitlyn being drafted up, this is a really weird lane. Caitlyn Blitzcrank is not one of the ones we see very often.
No, I mean, there is obviously some potential for setting up traps once he gets the hook off and the knock up with the fist, but it does look like, in fact, with this selection of the Rel, that the Amumu is in fact going to be put into the jungle. That is the flex there, and you can already see the amount of AoE lockdown and damage that this COF team is going to bring out with the Curse to Sad Mummy, the Magnet Storm to lock down the opposing members, and then the Cannon Barrage, the Mega Inferno Bomb, all that good stuff on top of them. Paired with that, the Shen, of course, there's a lot of global pressure between the GP and the Shen to allow them to, set themselves up with split pushing and be able to execute the fight as soon as they want to. On the other side, this Alawi, I mean, we've seen this champion do quite a lot of work in the league thus far. It just depends, particularly with the Shen looking to potentially move out of lane quite a lot. If she does get given the lane to herself and the chance to scale and, set herself up with some of those tanky stats, all that sustain, then it could work out for them in fights. But who do you like right now, Found, with these two comps?
Well, I personally, I just have to give it to Church of the Alfonso because I do like the spice. It does look like they are going to be fans of the Mr. Tobito Fate, right? Recognize he's in the lore, taking that gangplank into the mid lane most likely, and then that's going to be the Shen headed to the top side. So I do like that. That's something we have not seen for quite a while. But honestly, any more talking is going to be irrelevant because I want to get right into the game between game one of
Yes,
this Lunar
sir.
Division, Church of Alfonso versus Serenity, and this is going to be a close one.
It is absolutely, and I think both teams are definitely going to be looking to make some things happen early on in the game. We obviously have the Xin Zhao, the Blitzcrank, looking to try to put as much pressure on us, and we see him invade immediately with the
And
Blitzcrank.
the hook is going to unfortunately go wide, so Graviel is going to be safe in his early game, but some decent wards coming out for the side of Serenity are going to have vision on this Wraith camp for quite a while. We'll see if Graviel is going to be taking a red side clear into his blue. So I do like that for a bit of early action.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Frozen, I think, is definitely trying to, put a name for himself out here in the league. With they've been flexing a little bit between Frozen and with Filthy Casual, I believe, the support within the jungle, but they are going to stick with him this time around. And whilst this team Serenity has been, has had quite a few roster swaps recently, this is definitely it'll be interesting to see how they work with this synergy, because it is a new bot lane. Halos, whilst he is quite comfortable in a solo lane, has not played top before, so we'll have to see how it pans out with whether they're able to stack up against these much more kind of set in stone comp on the side of COF.
Absolutely. Now, as they do set up for a gank, this is
Oh
going to be
wow.
warded, so Besh is going to be knocked up. Double knock up from the row. Cold Bloom is going to be taking a bit of damage. Does still have the flash and heal available. Is not going to be forced to use either one. As Blitzcrank is going to flash, so even though no more CC was going to be available, that is a flash burn. So even though that setup was in their original intent, it looks like that's not going to go into their favor.
No, and I mean, you don't really want to hook the Rel in that situation, because that just gives her the in that she wants. A little bit overzealous. I mean, they did try to set up for the the setup in the tri-bush level 1, but right now it is definitely going. I mean, the Rel's going to have to. They're going to get basically all the pressure they need to go and get an invade off into the red side bot lane on the blue. And on the flip side, that does mean Rosen Incursion is going to be able to go and put some pressure immediately onto the Shen.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you notice already on the map, a map split is coming in. So this is something we have not seen in quite a while, but will put a lot of pressure onto this bot side because Graviel will be here for such a long time, securing up that blue in the enemy side. And neither jungler chose to greed and take the Gromp or anything further. So this is going to be a little bit of a slower pace for both junglers.
It is. I think they're expecting quite a lot of, quite aggressive trading potentially to be happening in this mid lane. I mean, the GP particularly is sitting on the corrupting pot, so he's going to be looking to try to trade his health as much as possible to get as much pressure on the rise with the TP. Both mid laners. There's a lot of TPs on the map, by the way, so we know that we know the amount of global pressure that COF has, so potentially that'll work in their favor once we get into the later game fights. But
Yep, hooks
again,
in the land. Besh is going to get the stun. Double knockup interrupted by the side of this Blitzcrank, so that is going to be the passive out. Blitzcrank does have no flash, took a bunch of damage. But you got to be careful with hooking up the Rel because it does just give her that in.
Yeah, it does. Oh, she's going back in.
Yep, only getting taking a bunch of tower damage, and that's going to be the flash auto picking up by Cold Bloom, who is going to trade it for his life. Cold Blaster gets a kill. This does still work out in the advantage of the Ziggs, though, because he does get a nice secure push.
He does, and crucially, the Caitlyn Cold Bloom did have to burn his heal, completely summonless on the side of SCR bot lane right now, whereas Cold Blaster, he's very happy because he can get a push in here. He's even got TP to come back to the lane should he wish to. But it does look like we're going to be seeing potentially some contention on the bot side river as Graviel and RHC are going to be looking into, to contend on Frozen.
Yep, Frozen going to be forced to flash out, taking a bunch of damage. This bot lane has been a massive pressure point so far. Serenity has not been able to match the aggression at the moment. And Ziggs going to be quite happy getting that kill and getting that CS advantage also. You do not want to see Ziggs get ahead. He's very good into these immobile champions in the Rise and the Alawi.
Yeah, and whilst Paytime is, he's having a bit of trouble right now in this top side, which is to be expected consider how the amount of spatial control that the Alawi has. But to be honest, I mean, if he holds out until 6, then really he's done his job, because then he can just go and potentially snowball the spot lane further should he wish to. And once hopefully he'll have it up by the time, maybe not this dragon, but by the time the objectives are going to be contested later on in the lane. So he's going to be looking relatively happy right now. It does mean that Halos is going to be able to get an early base and potentially come back with a TP should he need to.
Yeah, and that playtime was not going to be able to get a safe push out. Good dodge on the hook from Cold Blaster, as now here's going to be the fight. Beshiwap is going to be able to get the knock up onto Blitzcrank, who's taking a bunch of damage. He's going to be the only one and the first one to drop. There's no way he's making it out of it. Cold Blaster picking up his second kill.
Oh my goodness, and already 5 minutes in and this Ziggs is already incredibly accelerated. This is exactly what COF want right now, and I mean they're playing really into this Ziggs with the GP of course as well providing a lot of damage, but the amount of lockdown and just global presence that COF have, and the peel from the Shen, from the Rel, he's going to be able to do what he wants once we get into these later game fights, unless Frozen Incursion potentially can, or the Blitzcrank of course can get onto him.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good example of intelligent drafting from the side of TL2. If Blitzcrank is really vulnerable into supports who can out-tank him and aren't really scared of being hooked, like a Rel, like an Alistar, some things on this example. And I think we're seeing how difficult it is for Blitzcrank to find these really high crucial hooks, because unless they land on the Cold Blaster, there isn't really anything they can do.
Yeah, and I do wonder about this because, I mean, if we did expect the Amumu to be put into the support role, which is what we considered initially when he was first picked, the Blitzcrank was considered as the counterpick if they were expecting that to happen. And I feel like the Amumu would do just as well in this situation. So a little bit of a question mark on this pick, but either way.
Yeah, I think it would have been bad no matter which one went down there, honestly.
Yeah. Either way, Serenity is going to be able to pick themselves up the, the first strike of the game because... well, there's Graviel instead is going to be up there on his top side and potentially hovering should Halo scope or something. But against a Chen, he probably isn't going to be considering. He's just going to continue building up his CS lead and side laning as Happy Alawi does.
Yeah, Alawi is very difficult to gank in this stage of the game. Even though this taunt is going to land, you're going to see how much healing is going to come out from Helios as the counter damage is there. So here comes the Cold Blaster is going to land it, but this is just a bait. Rel is going to get the knockup onto Cold Bloom, and the stuns are there. Now there's a lot of damage onto both Blitzcrank and Caitlyn, who are forced to walk away. But you see, even when Cold Blaster gets hooked up, it's still just a bait.
It really is, and fantastic stun there with the attract repel. A-Time's going for this, and I mean, there's a big wave on the side of Halos, but I mean, if the E's down and he hasn't, that's really all he wants.
There's another fight, and Cold Bloom taking a bunch of damage, and he's going to get dropped up. Ignites down, so that's going to be the Caitlyn being first one dropped to Beshiwap. As now Tiki is here, and this is going to be a continuance of the play. Gangplank ultimate comes through, and the Shen ultimate is going to be available. Tiki is going to get stunned up, and that is going to take a bunch of damage. Tiki is going to teleport in for his death. And now Helios is on the way, but he's super low. He's coming into HP, but the ultimate is there, and that's going to pick up two instantly. A bunch of damage coming out from this Alawi.
And that was huge. I mean, this obviously, Tiki gets completely locked down by the Rel here. And this TP looks incredibly scary, but he gets the immediate soul pull into the Leap of Faith. And look at the sustain he's getting from the tentacle slams right now. Absolutely massive from Halos there to completely save that fight for SCR.
Yeah, so much damage came out really aggressive on the side of Helios, taking a teleport where he was so low already. But the match did end up being worth it, and that's a lot of gold going over to Alawi free, and she is a champion that scales quite well. So really smart on her part, 20 CS lead and coming back with the kill, really happy. And it looks like she's even going Triforce to get her some extra damage.
Yeah, crucially, of course, she did not get the shutdown onto Cold Blaster there. He's still got his TP as well, should he wish to come back to lane and catch this wave, which Cold Bloom is trying to push in. So he's really, the main focal point for the team, as we said already. And I mean, whilst Halos is now very, very big, Playtime probably doesn't mind this too much because ultimately, he's still just going to be doing his job once his whenever the Sand United is up. That's just his cue to come into the fight and set things up. So
here's going to be the fight, and this is a face check into it. Blitzcrank has used everything onto the Rel, and she's going to get locked down from 100% to almost 0. Very low HP, forced to flash out. Now the fight is going to begin. Playtime gets a double stun onto Blitzcrank, a bunch of damage. He's going to pick it up, and now Frozen's going to be the one in danger. A big turnaround, and that is COF picking up 2 for 0 so far, as Tiki is on the run, and he's going to get hooked up twice. He has another Bantosh available, and that's going to be the Rise finding himself in the ground. 3 for 0 for the side of COF.
And I mean, we do wonder about SCR trying to, contest in the river there. Ollie moving into, they did almost manage to kill Beshuop to begin with, but crucially, Halos is their main damage threat at the moment. Really, this Rise is quite far behind already, and Cold Bloom, excuse me, not Cold on both sides, but Cold Bloom nowhere near the fight to provide too much support. So with the TP down, it's really difficult for them to engage fights because of the amount of basically because of all 5 members of COF being able to get into the fight very easily, given their comp.
Yeah, Rise is very binary in his damage sources. He's typically wanting to be in the side lanes, utilize his mobility to find kills onto outnumbered fights. So a straight up team fight is not going to be an Actually, really beautiful dodge on the hook. Well done from the side of this Rel, because that could have been a lot of damage that could have came out with a trap follow up coming out from Cold Blossom, who was so close. Cold Bloom, sorry.
I'm finding it tricky as well with all these Colds on the map, but Cold, I mean, he's doing a good job keeping up with CS, and of course, like, with this, it'll be interesting to see whether he is going to be moving into the lethality or the crit build. He's got the fleet footwork, which is very strong in lane after the buffs, but again, I mean, assume against his comp he's going to be going crit, but either way, he's going to have to be putting out a lot of damage in fights in order to keep up with this Ziggs at the moment, who is still... I mean, he's working his way towards what is most likely a Leandries, and he's not going to be too long until he gets there already, and still, he has burned the TP, but either way, he's got that Mega Inferno Bomb for that next dragon spawning in about a minute's time. And there's going to be some contest on Herald in the meantime.
Yeah, this could be great. Graviel is going to land up the stun. Shen ultimate is going to be available, so there's no damage falling on Graviel just yet. The taunt is going to be there, and that is going to get frozen. It's going to be the first one to drop. But this is a big ultimate from the side of Alawi, but she's out of mana and has nothing else available. Tiki is trying to do as much as he can. RHC is going to get into that's going to be the flash from House that's going to pick up playtime. RHC in a bit of trouble. The Q lands and the auto is there, and the trial by fire is burning, but it will not be enough as Alawi is going to make it out by the skin of her teeth in a good fight from the side up thing as they continue to fight as a hook lands into this bot side, and this Blitzcrank takes a bunch of damage. Gold Bloom being forced off and getting Cold Blazer off the wave. So well done, but they're just fighting everywhere right now.
Yeah, and I mean the bot side is still getting the push off. They're going to have to take a base the side of SCR, but Halos right now is, I mean, also Tiki crucially did manage to pick up a couple of kills in that fight. Halos coming in again, just doing so much damage once he'd gotten that leap of faith off, and whilst the carries on the side of COF are still very far ahead, this is looking quite scary. The Herald, of course, was picked up for Halos right now, who...
Yeah, he's taking a really aggressive trade into playtime. He doesn't have much of it. That's going to be the taunt, and that's going to be a shutdown, just given over to playtime, greedy for these plates, and that's a lot of gold given over to a Shen for basically for free.
Yeah, I mean... a little bit overzealous there from Halos, but
overzealous. Speaking overzealous, the fight's continuing. Frozen's getting locked up. Graviel is gonna find him, and this Xin has dropped yet again. Tiki is looking for it. Ultimate from Caitlyn gonna do a bit of damage to Graviel, but that's not gonna be enough. There's a face check from the Blitzcrank, and he's decided that he's gonna give his life over, and that's a double kill for GP already. REC is finding so much as Cold Blaster picks up the last one. So the kills are just dropping, and that was Serenity just running in after one after another.
Yeah, I mean, very much not respecting the amount of damage and coming out, and also the lack of vision. I mean, Ollie just running in there blind and getting jumped on by 4 members with the attract repel as well. So that's exactly what CF needed to continue to balloon the game in their favor. They've got almost a 3k gold lead now, and whilst that Herald was dropped on the top side, because Paytime was able to pick up that solo kill, not much more came from it. Halos is able to come back up. His TP is just about coming off cooldown, and he is going to be able to get a push of his own. But crucially, I mean, the push is still down here in the bot lane, and Cold Bloom trying to put down some damage. He did manage to pick himself up a kill in that previous exchange, but it's still very much the timer is ticking a little bit, considering how much this Ziggs and this GP are scaling up themselves.
Yeah, Playtime doing his best right now to prevent this tower from dropping. That is going to keep Shen corralled up for quite a while. They don't want to give up first tower just yet. But for Ziggs, if he gets even a small amount of time on the next tower, he will be picking that up. So it's going to be interesting. Now Tiki is going to get started. He's going to be airborne, and that shouldn't be enough. RC does not have a lot of damage yet. Oh, actually, I am wrong. Almost with the one shot. A crazy amount of damage coming out from GP already.
We haven't seen this build, I think, in some time. Although, I mean, I haven't. Ooh, never mind. Let's get to this 2v1.
Yeah, that's the top. They're going to try to do everything to kill this Helios, but that is way too much damage. Forced to walk away instantly. And here comes a flash. Tiki's going to get stunned up under the tower. Too much damage, and RC is going to pick it up.
Woohoo! Oh, he dies anyway.
God. And that is the death from the leap of faith. Alawi is such a confusing champion when she kills people like that.
Yeah, she's got the Divine Sunderer now available, so these tanks are going to be a lot... they're going to be going down to her pretty quickly, as you see thus far over there. And yes, the
there's the fight. That's going to be the ultimate coming out, and that's going to land on Caitlyn. Too much damage, forced to flash out. Cold Bloom is in the pit, but he is not out cold gaming today, as that is the first kill getting picked over by Cold Blaster with a lot of resources used, but another kill onto the Ziggs, who is 5-0-3 so far.
Good lord, yeah. I mean, I love the fact that these teams are really just constantly throwing punches with each other. We've got 21 kills in only 14 minutes. That's 1.5 per minute. And both of them, of course, very equal in the standings here. If SER pick up this win, it is going to be evening out the scoreboard for both of these teams. So both these teams very much wanting this right now, and they're definitely not pulling the punches. I mean, Playtime, he's going to be sitting here trying to like catch this wave, but Halos was already working his way towards what is most likely going to be a Sterex gauge. And he's going to, the Rise is still, you know, he's scaling up. He's not too far behind on CS. So the Caitlyn as well, having picked up her Gale Force. We haven't seen too much from Frozen Incursion so far in this game, but he does still have the engagement necessary, but he is doing it into a very, very CC heavy comp. When these later fights happen, I mean, it's going to be so difficult still for SER to just get onto that backline that will be doing tons and tons of damage. So I do worry for them. They have managed to pull things back, and I think it really is going to be on Halos to just get in there and get another monstrous leap of faith to try to carry the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. He has been the big carry for Serenity so far. And unfortunately, the season is wrapping up. We're getting close to the end, and playoff implications are on every player's mind right now as they're trying to get as good seeding as possible, as the hook is going to go wide. But yeah, this is really big for which team is going to get some good seeding coming into it. And frankly, it seems like Church of Alfonso has been getting every advantage that they have, as they've been coming out on the winning side of the fight more often than not.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, again, we said crucially it's going to be Halos who's going to have to make those big plays. He does have the TP now available, as the Dragon is going to be spawning in just over a minute's time. And that is going to be the next big point of contention. There is, of course, the possibility of the trade for the Herald, I think, which will be spawning in a moment or so. So we'll see if these teams do decide to pull the trigger here. There doesn't seem to be too much posturing over either side just at the moment. Cold Bloom and Ollie going to be able to get themselves a little bit of a push potentially with Beshiwap roaming, although the Ziggs clears so quickly that he can potentially walk up and clear the wave himself. So hopefully they are going to be able to get themselves a priority on the pit, and it does look like Halos is going to be...
people already. Halos getting stunned up by the Rel, and now RHC is also available. This is a bunch of damage. Leap of Faith has come out, but they are correctly kiting it out, as no further damage is going to come out from that ultimate. Halos is forced to walk away. Gravio is here, but this is him walking the opposite the way. You're not going towards your base, man. There's not really an out yet. He does have teleport available, so he could do that. But here's the taunt, and here's the knock-up, and here's RHC finding the damages. The healing's still coming out, man. Someone finish him. As now the final auto attack has come through. Yeah. Halos took forever to kill, but nothing gained on the opposite side of the map.
No, and once they've kited out, as you said, the leap of faith, that's most of the potential threat of a turnaround from Halos gone. And this is, well, Grabiel's nowhere near this at the moment, so it does look like they are going to be trading objectives. We did see, of course, the monstrous amount of damage. That's not going to do too much apart from, I don't think he walks up Ollie's right there. So it is going to be a Dragon taken for the side of SER, but it does mean a big push going to be coming into the mid lane with the Herald for the side of COF, and they're going to be looking to trading towers here.
Ooh, yeah, Ollie is not going to land that hook too, so this is just going to be a free tower. 4 people strong already. RC is going to be able to set up some barrels also, so this could easily be an inhibitor tower. As Halos is trying to walk up and hit the eye, but he's here by himself, and then he's going to get stunned up by Gravio, but his team isn't really following up yet. Gravio taking a bunch of damage. Big ultimate over the top from Rel. Halos is here. Leap of Faith is in. This healing is not going to be enough. Halos is going to be the first one to drop his down. Frozen is also taking a bunch of damage, and he's going to follow. Alio has found himself on the back line, but he's all alone with a triple kill for RHC.
Oh my goodness. And the disgusting combo there with the Curse of the Sad Mummy into the Cannon Barrage. They were just stuck in that ult, getting bombarded for so long. And not to mention the barrels coming out from RHC as well, who is monstrous at the moment. We saw the first item, Essence Reaver, coming out from this crit GP, who now... It's going to be so hard for any of them to kill him, really, because of the amount of burst damage he has. Even for Halos, who does have a little bit of armor stack, is just going to go down in a couple of hits. So now... you know, there's been very little tension paid towards Cold Blaster, who is just, you know, going to be able to just continue to farm up. But this GP now, and they did give this over to RHC, who is a pretty seasoned GP player, GP mid. I do wonder how they're going to be able to get on him and kill him with the comp they have. I mean, they do have a bit of CC, of course. They have the Blitzcrank, they have the dive in with Frozen Incursion, but none of them are going to be able to get on him without just getting 2 shots. So yeah, a little bit of a head scratcher here. Even if Halos does manage to get off a massive leap of faith, as we saw previously, he still gets bursted down in a couple of hits. So, I mean, SER, they're going to have to be going back to the drawing board a little on how they are going to have to be playing around these fights, as the Baron is going to be spawning, and Halos is just going to continue to side lane as best he can. Again, he's got the TP, but, well, I'm not sure. You know, Paytime can hold this wave pretty well, and this mid lane is completely exposed now. And with the amount of clear that this Ziggs and this GP have, it looks like they're going to have to be putting quite a few resources back into that mid lane, rotate back around to stop it.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. COF has a very good composition into an Alawi. None of these champions necessarily need to be in her Leap of Faith range. GP has tons of range damage, and the same follows up for Cold Blaster. So other than Gravio, who is a tank anyway, no one's taking that massive amount of damage. He is going to get caught out. Knockup is going to be there. Bashiwap is cooked up too, so a bunch of damage onto this Rel, who's not going to be surviving much longer. But so much damage comes off the Cold Blue on the follow-up. But that is going to be the kill picked up on the Rel. Good pick in front of the Baron. So there is a small win. It doesn't seem like they are going to try to take it, so that's going to be all she wrote for that play.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to get themselves... it's more denial than anything, because they don't have a particularly fast Baron at all, whereas, of course, the side of COF right now has a very fast Baron with this Ziggs and this GP. So trying to, you know, stall this out, get themselves some vision on there, and just continue to scale up as best as they can, as this Caitlyn, you know, is very far behind at the moment, a full item behind even, and she's going to be looking hopefully towards something like a Lord Dominic's in order to deal with some of this massive front line.
Oh my god, RC gets a triple barrel. Really good onto his part. That is some GP mechanics right there. Tobias would be proud.
He would indeed. I've gotten those once in an Aram, and God, I felt proud of myself, but never again. Anyway, well, you know, we're going to see a little bit of side laning as neither team looking to contest objectives too much at the moment, just continuing to push waves. There are a few turrets down, but really there isn't neither team looking to, you know, overextend just yet with the Dragon. Again, it is soul point for the side of SCR. It is a mountain soul, we did mention before, but it is going to allow them to tank up a little bit more of this burst damage from the GP and the Ziggs, which they will be quite grateful for should they get it. And they do have some vision right now in the bot side river, so it'll be interesting to see whether... The problem is that, of course, COF do have the opportunity to go up and try to trade for the Baron, should they wish. And it does look like they are moving in that direction, although I think it does look like they are going to be potentially walking into the river, seeing if they can get anything here.
Yeah, but this fight is already going to be quite difficult. RC has collected up that Infinity Edge already. I believe that's 80% crit, so those barrels are going to be doing massive amounts of damage. And before this team fight does occur, I do want to give credit to the true GP main Solar Baka. People told me in the comments, I do read that Solar Baka is the true GP god. Don't worry, RC probably is a fan, as this team fight is being set up with a trap line already done.
Yes, they've got as much defensive option as possible, but it's still going to be so hard. All that has happened, Beshuop, Grabiel, anyone, just to get an engage in, and that could be curtains for them. They've really got to play this fight carefully.
Yeah, Ali looking for the hook. Big barrel throughout the chain already. Cold Bloom, super low HP. Rel's going to find the engage, and everyone's just dropping. The bodies are falling, and the caskets are out as 4 bodies are done. Cold Bloom, the only one alive, and he's going to get knocked up by Rel. Flashing away is going to prevent it, but Cold Blazer is on the chase. Everybody's cold. This is ridiculous, and he is going to make it out, but 4 kills and a Dragon collected up a really smooth team fight for the side of COF.
I mean, what more is there to say? You know, they have the massive Wombo combo. The Lockdown was there, the Magnet Storm, the Curse, the Sad Mummy, and the Cannon Barrage and Mega Inferno Bomb on top. And you can be, you know, as big as you like with this Alawi, but that's really the rest of this comp, not relatively squishy members right now. Frozen Incursion put behind quite far early, so he's not got many Sankey stats himself, not even got a Sterax yet. And yeah, they all just melted. So what more is there? They don't decide to go for the Baron, though, instead just picking themselves up a second Drake. But it is going to allow Paytime and RHC to get a push up there on the top side and continue to put priority on this Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. And RSC is making this gangplank look pretty busted because with those barrel chains keep landing. Now this is a red buff chest, and RSC is going to be in a bit of trouble. Taunt's going to land onto Frozen. He is all by himself, and the crit gank is down. Frozen dies instantly with a jungler dead in front of Baron. This could easily be the start as Playtime and Beshiwap are looking for the zone.
Mm. And here we go. This is going to be the Baron start, and you see how quickly it's going down with these carries doing so much damage. So I don't know who's going to be able to walk up. Beshiwap is just going to be able to zone on his own. And there it is. That's a free Baron for the side of COF. The gold lead now a nice, clean 10k for them. And Tiki did manage to get himself, as we see here, a little push in the bot side to pick up that tier 1. But now I really don't see how SER are able to stop this push.
Yeah, absolutely. This is nightmare time if there ever was one. 5-item GP walking out the base. He was critting on almost every auto on the Baron already. Look at how much. Let's see. I actually want to see 1475 for a crit on the barrel. This is extremely high right now. And it looks like a 1-3-1 is going to be the pushing setup that we are seeing. And it's going to be up to this mid lane trio of Gravio, Cold Blaster, and Beshiwap to play safe and not get picked in this situation.
And I mean, they do thankfully have quite a lot of wave clear with the Rise, with the Caitlyn to be able to, mitigate some of this. But they can only mitigate 1 or 2 lanes at a time, really. And as you said, nice 1-3-1 coming out. With all of the global presence that this comp has, which we talked about, the Cannon Barrage, the Stand United. It's not going to be very easy for them to get. As we say that. And when that's your strongest member getting half health by a barrel. That's not a good look.
Yeah, and it almost procs to Sterix. That could have been even worse. And once that cooldown is gone, she's basically a squishy bot. There's no way she can stay in a team fight, as that's going to be the Gangplank ultimate used to attempt to stop a base. Big resource gone, so small win. As Tiki is just giving a bunch of damage onto Playtime, who is taking it all up.
He is, but I mean, he's just delaying the Rise here, and as we can see, SER have very little they can do to respond to this split. All sides, I mean, they have managed to clear that wave, but there is now a wave, super minion wave coming into the mid lane, just moving up from the base right now. And I mean, none of them really, they have to send at least 3 or 4 members to go and deal with RHC, whilst everyone else is just going to sit in this bot side and try to clear out this bot tier 3 as well. So it's lose-lose for them right now, really.
Yeah, this is a 2 Baroned up super minion wave. 2 cannons wailing away at this tower. It looks like the fight is what they're going through for. But there's really no engage that they can look at. Once the Realm Warp is down, how are you going to ever get onto this backline as RC has already taken the top tower?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the Stand United is online, so were they to go and mob RHC, then he'd have support pretty much instantly. I mean, they have good clear, but not good enough, especially not with the Ziggs, of course, just clearing.
Flash is coming out. Playtime is hooked up, so this Gen is going to be laughing in the face of all the damage he's going to be receiving. Its second inhib has gone down, third one on the way. And then once this happens, if you drop 3 inhibs, then you basically have lost the game. RC is on the side. This is going to be a bunch of damage onto Helios, who is getting his ultimate available, but it's not really doing anything. He's forced to flash out, instantly dead. 2 people dropping. Frozen Dot, double taunt on the back line. Everybody's dying. Tiki's going to drop. Cold Bloom's the only one who has made it out yet again, and the Cannon Barrage is going to be there, as Hollis has said, I'm done with the game, I'm out. As that is going to be the wrap-up, as a really, really well done game, 28-9 from the side of COF.
And well, I mean, what can you say? Like, where did their health bars go right at the end there? We've all watched enough, well, I certainly have enough Synapse clips of just GP barrels melting everything, and I suppose that's a good enough example of it. Absolutely cracked game from these carries on the side of COF. A beautiful lockdown strategy that just played out exactly the way that we thought it would. And yeah, look at that damage. Unreal.
24,624 for the GP. The crit barrels is here. I don't know. Going into playoffs, RC has just made a case where this should almost be a permaban after this one, because I don't know if you want to give him another opportunity to perform like that. The Ziggs also very well done. I can't imagine what Ziggs win rate is in FOF, but it has to be in the 60 to 70%. So these some of the strongest champions we've seen, and COF performed immaculately on them. One of the most dominating wins we've seen in a while.
Absolutely, and we do have to give some credit to SER. They did put up a pretty good fight for a lot of the game, especially in the early game. We see a lot of slugging from both sides there, lots and lots of skirmishing. And credit to them, they're playing with a bot lane that aren't nearly as as synergized or as used to each other as the side of COF. And Halos as well, a mid laner primarily and former ADC for this team, going up into the top lane, doing a very good job. But an Alawi, no matter how strong she is, can't stack up against, I guess, a 4-crit IMGP. So
yeah, absolutely. So that is game 1 in the books, but stick around because after the break, we are all going to go to church as we're going to hear from the victorious Church of Alfonso.
Let's go.
Hello everyone, Chris Edgeworth here for our first interview tonight, and I'm joined by Graviel, the jungler from the victorious Church of Alfonso. Welcome to the desk, and let us all be blessed here in this church.
Thanks. It's great to be here, and glad that everything went well today.
Yeah, let's talk about this this blessed draft from your side. So. This was a little bit of draft nirvana, not gonna lie. It looks like you folks had many tricks in your bag to pull out. They had some interesting picks too, some answers. What were your thoughts about what you folks wanted to bring into this draft and what you ended up against?
We actually came into the draft wanting the Amumu. Like, if it wasn't banned, we were just gonna pick it because it's just one of my favorite champions. I've loved Amumu for a long time, and there was like they lost some bans, so it was pretty easy for us to just get the matchup and the draft that we wanted. We pretty much got everything that we wanted and just planned to grab it and execute it.
Nice. And let's talk about execution. So you ended up with the mummy. It's something that we've been seeing a ton of here in Friend or Foe since the changes. And mostly we have actually been seeing it though in the support role. You had it in the jungle this game, and you're no stranger to using mummy in the jungle if I remember right too. So what were your thoughts on him in this matchup, and how did you feel about your most successful in this game?
So like Mummy versus Xin Zhao is never like a great 1v1 Xin Zhao win, so I just have to make sure I never get caught out against Xin. So like it was mainly just making sure we had the rotations for objectives and stuff, and pretty much making sure we were either 2v1 or 2v2 at the least. Because with like the Amumu CC just makes it to where like as long as you have equal numbers or like they have less numbers, it's pretty much just a win.
Yeah, the new who would have thought that just giving 2 bandage tosses would just suddenly make Mummy good again? 2 CCs better than 1. I think the math checks out there for anyone who's checking. So awesome game on this. After a certain point, it just seemed like it was super doomed, especially with some of the barrels that RHC was getting off. They're truly disgusting numbers to see on the screen. So let's move forward then and look at the rest of your matchups towards the end of the regular season. You have TAS coming up tomorrow, but then the final week you'll be up against BBZ and UB to close out the regular season, the final game against the top of the standings. How are you feeling about your new role here at Church of Alfonso, being that you just joined recently, and how you folks can do some damage in these final 2 weeks?
I'm feeling really good with this team. Like playing like Paytime himself just gives a lot of like good advice and stuff. And he's really kind of leveled up my game just in the little bit that I played with him so far. So really excited to keep playing with him. As for the matchups, I'm always going to be excited to play against BBZ. BBZ Tef is the old support. I believe he was on PTP last season. So always excited to play against him. And then UB's always fun to go against. They're just such a challenge and really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Graviel, for joining us for this interview. Congrats to Church of Alfonso. But as always, any final thoughts before we step away? Any shout outs or any banter you haven't had an opportunity to get out yet?
No banter or anything, just really enjoying my time. I'm pretty sure just I have to say this, like I know COF really wants a poker in the Discord. So that's about the only thing I can keep bringing up.
It's Gamba all the way down. It's how we make our living here at Friend or Foe. So we'll let your pleas go out on the public airwaves. So check out the Discord, folks. That's all I can say. If you want to be the change you want to see in the world, go join our Discord. So thanks, Graviel, for joining us for this interview. Folks, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with our second game of the night, so don't go anywhere.